Should we try again?
Yes.
Okay. May I begin, Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. I am saddened to make a motion that we amend the agenda to consider entering into a resignation agreement with our superintendent, Dr. Herrera.
Is there, I'm sorry, Mrs. Cummings? Thank you. Okay, there's a motion to amend the agenda to consider entering into a resignation agreement with Dr. Herrera by Mr. Johnson, supported by Mrs. Cummings. Before we embark in discussion, I have a statement I would like to read. I would like to begin by briefly explaining some extraordinary developments that have occurred since our last board meeting. Superintendent Dr. Robert Herrera contacted me with a complaint against board member Angie Smith, alleging that Ms. Smith had engaged in behavior that constituted harassment against him that was in violation of board policy. I contacted district legal counsel to investigate the complaint and report back to me so that I may report to the board. In the course of their investigation with Dr. Herrera, Dr. Robert Herrera indicated a desire to resign his employment with the district on terms mutually agreeable to the parties. I authorized the district's legal counsel to explore such a possible agreement leading to Dr. Herrera leaving the district, and such an agreement has been proposed. That is what is being discussed at this time. The key elements of the agreement are as follows. 1, Dr. Herrera continues as district superintendent until end of first semester, January 22nd, 2021, and thereafter is placed on work leave, acting in a consulting role with the district until June 30th, 2021, when his employment with the district ends. 2, at the time Dr. Herrera shall be paid an additional $105,000, representing about 1/2 of work in consideration for the losses he will experience as a result of not working through the end of the 3 years on his employment contract. 3, as part of the agreement, Dr. Herrera waives any legal claims that he may have against the district, including but not limited to those claims arising from board member Smith's repeated public statements and social media posts accusing him of being against African American staff and students. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Mr. Johnson, will you do roll call vote in the absence of Mrs. Smith, who is handling an emergency?
I have a statement I'd just like to say.
Go ahead.
I think Dr. Herrera has done a phenomenal job in this district. I really hate to see that things have come to this, and it's very disappointing, but you know, I think he's done a good job thus far, and you know, I think it's the loss of this district, and he's really the right man for this job, and but for some circumstances that you have just gone through, you know, I think he'd still be here. But again, I just want to say thank you, Bob, for all you've done for this district. I believe I was the one that made the motion to actually bring you in, and I'm glad that you came, and one that made the, again, just good luck to you, and you know, my term will be ending soon, but you know, I still have a child in this district, and I really wish that you were still around to lead it. But I just want to say thank you for all you've done, and not only the leadership, but just the systems and things that you attempted to put in place. And you were always about the district. And one of the conversations I remember having is, it's not the children's behavior that could be issues here. It's the adult behavior. And unfortunately, adult behavior has led to certain things. But I just want to say thank you for all you've done, and you and your lovely family for the sacrifices that you've made. And it has not gone unnoticed, and it has not gone unappreciated. So I just want to say thank you.
Mrs. Cummings?
I want to echo what my colleague, Mr. Johnson, has said. Thank you, Dr. Herrera. Working with you has been a pleasure. I know I've learned a lot from you. I appreciate that you were willing to come into our district and really help us move forward. I have the greatest respect for you. I'm deeply saddened and disappointed to see you go, because I really appreciate the work that you've done and the vision and the future that I could see. So thank you for everything, and I wish you well and wish nothing but the best for you in your future. So thank you.
Thank you. I saw Mr. Mukamal stand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to echo what my colleagues have said this evening, and I find this deeply distressing, these events. And that's all I'm going to say right now. The district is going to be the lesser for not having Dr. Herrera leading it. And that's all I want to say at this time. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members regarding the amendment to the agenda?
Yes.
Mrs. Weems?
Yes, I just want to echo some of the comments that my colleagues have just made, and just mention that I am very disappointed by what we've heard today and the position that we're in right now. I want to thank Dr. Herrera for his service and wish him well. At the same time, I want to wish our central office staff well as well. I know that we've got the support and the expertise to continue on with the best intentions. So thank you.
Any other comments, Mr. Rich?
Thank you. As with the rest of my colleagues, I want to echo their thoughts. Losing Dr. Herrera will be a great loss for our district. We had steps in place. We were building a foundation to be moving forward. And it'll be on my colleagues and myself to now find a new superintendent to help us keep moving forward. And to Dr. Herrera, I want to say thank you for your time and effort that you put into our district, and I want to wish you and your family the best moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I just, as you can tell, I'm very emotional because my passion is education. Having met with Dr. Herrera, and the first time I met with him, we sat down probably about 3 hours and just talked about education, vision and mission, and where he could bring this district. And I truly believe that he was the person. His skill set was like nothing we have ever seen in this district. So this is painful, very painful. I have the utmost respect for Dr. Herrera and was excited. I even shared at one point to him that he made me so excited when he talked about teaching and learning that I wanted to go back into the classroom and be a teacher again. That's the kind of person he is. And this is a sad day for Farmington Public Schools. And again, I can't thank Dr. Herrera enough. His commitment and the things that you have been able to accomplish during your time here. and we wish you and your family the very, very best. Thank you for giving your time to Farmington Public Schools. At this time, Mr. Johnson, will you please do roll call in the motion to amend the agenda to consider the resignation agreement with Dr. Herrera?
Yes. Ms. Weems,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Ms. Cummings,
Yes.
Ms. Smith, are you back? Hearing nothing, moving to Mr. Mukamal.
Yes.
I myself, regrettably, yes. And Ms. Green,
Yes.
unanimously passes 6-0.
Thank you. Is there a motion related to the resignation agreement of Dr. Herrera? Mr. Mukamal?
I move that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Dr. Herrera and accept the resignation agreement as presented.
Ms. Smith is back. Would you like to vote on, Ms. Smith, the resignation agreement of Dr. Herrera? Yay or nay, please?
Yes. I'm saying yes, I would like to vote. I'm sorry. Yes,
And your
I
vote
will.
is?
Yes.
Madam Chair, just so the record is clear, it is now unanimous 7-0.
Thank you. We've moved
I'm
into
sorry,
the
Mr. Mukamal, to interrupt
I'm
you.
not sure.
No,
Never mind.
that was, just to be clear, that was the motion to modify the agenda,
Correct, but we had moved on to
correct?
a different motion.
Right, which I presented.
Let's make it nice and clear. So should we revote on the motion to accept the resignation? Have we all voted yes?
We have voted on the motion to modify the agenda.
Yes.
I will now make the motion for the agreement. I move that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Dr. Herrera and accept the resignation agreement as presented.
Support.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to keep up here. We have a motion that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Dr. Herrera and accept the resignation agreement as presented. The motion was made by Mr. Mukamal, supported by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Ms. Smith, are you in a position to do the roll call vote?
Actually not, but can Mr. Johnson or Ms. Weems continue that?
Yes.
And then I can make my vote because I do have a family emergency.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson will.
Ms. Weems,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Ms. Cummings,
Yes.
Mr. Mukamal,
With deep regret, yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
I myself, again with deep regret and disappointment, yes. Ms. Green,
With extreme disappointment, yes.
okay, that's a 7-0 unanimous pass.
Thank you.
It is. We have accepted the resignation of our leader, Dr. Robert Herrera.
Thank you. Is there any other business pertaining to this particular matter? Mr. Mukamal?
I move that the agenda be amended again to address the reason that Dr. Herrera resigned from the district, that being the behavior and statements of Angie Smith.
I'll support it.
Wait, I'm sorry, hang on. I got to catch up 1 second here. I'm sorry. Mr. Johnson, did you say support?
I will support it.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Mukamal to amend the agenda again to address the reason that Dr. Herrera resigned, that being the behavior of and statements of Angie Smith, supported by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
I think this board needs to take some action. You know, the community has asked us so many times, whether it's different board members, that we need to hold ourselves accountable. And we need to do that in this particular case. I think that this is just not a statement. It appears to be a pattern here, and I think this board needs to take some sort of action of some sort to send a message not only to the community, but any other board members who engage in this egregious type behavior. It just should not be tolerated, and we need to do something about this.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, there is a motion to amend the agenda again to address the reason Dr. Herrera resigned from the district, that being the behavior and statements of Angie Smith, by Mr. Mukamal and supported by Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, will you please do roll call vote?
Yes, I will. Ms. Weems. I'm sorry, Ms. Weems. Are you muted?
I think she might have been muted when other numbers were being muted. One moment.
She's
I
not
don't see her
muted.
muted.
She's not muted.
I'll try again, Ms. Weems. I just don't want to pass anybody over. Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Ms. Cummings.
Yes.
Ms. Weems.
I wonder if she's lost connection.
She is having technical difficulties.
So go ahead with the other board members, Mr. Johnson, please.
Mr. Mukamal.
Yes.
Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith. Hearing nothing, I will pass. I myself, yes. Ms. Green?
Yes.
I'll go back to Ms. Weems again. Ms. Smith? We
I'm
do
sorry,
have five.
so you know, Ms. Weems is attempting to dial back in.
Sure. We can wait a moment if I have no objection to that unless others
I have no
do.
objection.
Have we heard from Ms. Smith? Is she still with us?
So Ms. Weems still appears to be having technical difficulties. She's attempting to dial in, but it's not being successful.
I say we wait let's give her another minute or so. I think it's important that everybody weighs in on this. Okay, not hearing anything there. As of now, we have a 5-0 motion to, the motion passes to, make sure I'm right here, I don't want to move ahead. Motion passes to amend the agenda to address the conduct and behavior of board member Angie Smith. Pam, I think you're muted.
She's indicating that she cannot unmute herself.
Yes, no?
Mr. Mukamal?
Yeah, yes, I
Can you
believe
guys
that
not hear
that
me?
was
Again, my
accurate.
answer was yes. I am a yes. Yes.
Okay, Ms. Weems says yes. And again, is Ms. Smith on? And not hearing anything. So we have a 6-0 to discuss.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion related to the behavior and statements of Ms. Smith? Mr. Mukamal?
I move that the Board of Education accept the following resolution and conditions of censure related to Mrs. Angie Smith. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas board member Angie Smith has over the past several months made numerous statements in board meetings, in other public meetings, to various individuals, and on social media that have accused Superintendent Dr. Robert Herrera of having a practice and or policy of treating African American employees of the district less favorably than white employees, and otherwise acting in a manner that disfavored African American employees as well as students, which statements have not been substantiated, have not been authorized or endorsed by the Board of Education or other board members, and do not reflect the views of the board. Whereas such statements and posts were made and or publicly available without Ms. Smith disclaiming that her comments and posts were not those of the Board of Education and were her own personal views. Whereas the nature of Ms. Smith's public comments and posts have caused disruption to school district meetings and operations, impaired the reputation of the district, tainted the reputation of the superintendent, eroded community trust, and has thus necessarily and unfairly interfered with the ability of the superintendent to perform his duties and provide leadership for the district. Whereas Ms. Smith's public comments and posts have directly led to Superintendent Dr. Robert Herrera deciding to resign his employment with the district on terms mutually agreeable to him and the district, which will also resolve any potential legal claims that Dr. Herrera may have against the district as a result of Ms. Smith's unsubstantiated public comments and posts. And whereas the board lacks legal authority to remove Ms. Smith from the board or to prevent her from voting, now therefore it is resolved that the November 16, 2020 minutes shall state that the board disavows Ms. Smith's unsubstantiated public comments, public statements, and social media posts that Dr. Herrera has a practice or policy of treating African American employees and or students less favorably than white employees and students. Secondly, the board finds that Ms. Smith ignored her responsibilities as a board member to monitor and reflect upon the highly likely adverse effect of these unsubstantiated and unauthorized statements and posts about Superintendent Herrera on his ability to effectively perform his duties, as well as the ongoing work of the district. and as a result, this resolution shall be considered a censure of Ms. Smith for such statements and posts. Thirdly, effective immediately and continuing through the end of her term as a Farmington board member, pursuant to Board Bylaw 1001, removal from office, Ms. Smith shall be removed as board secretary, removed from acting as a mentor to any new board member, removed from any appointment previously made by the board to authorize Ms. Smith to act as a chairperson or liaison for any district committee or district work group. And with respect to Ms. Smith's position relating to the Oakland County School Board Association Board of Directors, such board shall be advised that Ms. Smith no longer represents the views of the Farmington Board of Education. Fourthly, this board pledges to continue and reinvigorate its efforts to attain greater equity within the district so that all students, staff, and community feel welcome, embraced, and supported within our district as valued members of the Farmington Public Schools. And fifth, the board's actions within this resolution shall be inserted within the minutes of this meeting. That concludes the resolution and the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support it.
Mr. Johnson, thank you. We have a motion that the Board of Education accept the central resolution and conditions therein related to Ms. Angie Smith is read by Mr. Mukamal and supported by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? Mr. Rich.
So we just received word that Miss Smith is back, but that she was dealing with a family emergency. Can we get that resolution sent to the board, please, so that we can read it in full, as well as Miss Smith read it in full, just so that there is proper discussion.
I agree with that.
I'm going to defer to Anne Marie. Are you on here? Mrs. Welch?
Yes. Yes.
Are you? I'm not quite sure how we can get that sent to the board members right now. I know that it was not a final. It was in a draft. It was not final. So how would you like to do that?
I would advise that Mr. Mukamal.
Oh, I just want to say I'm back, but I'm not back. So you don't have to read it again, but I heard most of it, but I'm in between.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, perhaps you could share that.
I have a comment.
One second, I'm getting multiple things. So let me please finish with Mrs. Welch. Mrs. Welch?
Ms. Smith indicated that she heard the resolution and asked the board to continue. Mr. Rich, does that satisfy your desire to make sure that there can be proper discussion?
I just want to make sure that all board members have it in front of them. Is that the case?
It's not in a packet or anything that we have. That's what I'm asking, how to get it.
I'm asking, can a copy of it be sent to all board members? And then we take a 5-minute recess so that we can read it. Make sure that, because just hearing it once is one thing, but making sure that we have it in front of us when we discuss and vote, I think would be extremely important.
Okay, Mr. Rich, I think if there would be no objection, I think we would take a 15-minute recess, which would allow me to connect with Mrs. Welch in order to get that document to the proper place so I could send it out to all of you, because I'm going to have to go to a different device also to do that.
So how is it that Mr. Mukamal has it and the rest of us don't? Like I agree with Mr. Rich. I would love to see it. There was a lot said. Some of it, I understood and agreed with, and some of it, frankly, I don't. And all of it it's a lot. So I would like to have a copy of it.
I think Ms. Green's suggestion is great. Maybe we have Anne Maurice, our attorney, send this out to our district email. Well, actually, either way, that,
She doesn't have all the emails. That's the problem, Mr. Johnson. So.
Oh, if she sends it to you, then we can have it distributed, correct?
Correct. So if you would give me 15 minutes to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll reconvene at 8:05.
Yes, that sounds fine. Okay, this meeting is adjourned until 8:05. Thank you.